Today we're talking to LC Davis. Getting ready to. Yeah, actually, I didn't forget. It's funny. I was talking to Ryan Couture, who's also on your card this week. That we're talking about some of our other favorite fighters on the card when I was interviewing Ryan, and the first thing that both of us said was LC Davis. So we both like watching you fight. So then we're both trying to break down your fight. He's being interviewed. I'm supposed to break down his fight, and we had spent most of our interview talking about yours and your fight with. It's still Tokoro, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Because sometimes the opponent changes, and then I don't know. I've actually been in interviews and said, "Oh, by the way, your new opponent is," and the fighter was like, "I don't know who I didn't know I had an opponent change. I'm stuck." So it's been interesting sometimes. So I kind of have an understanding of how I think this fight is going to go, but I want you to break it down for me. But I want you to break it down a different way. I want you to get inside Tokoro's head and go, "I got to fight LC Davis. I know what his weaknesses are. I know what his strengths are. This is what I do. What should I do to LC if I want to have a shot at winning in this fight?"
It's funny you say that because that's kind of how I approach all my opponents. I kind of look at it from the outside in, thinking like, how does this guy think he's going to beat me? And I think it's not a secret that my ground game off my back is probably my weakest point. So I think most guys are going to want to take me down and put me on my back. I'm guessing that's what he's going to be trying to do. He's pretty well-rounded, but he's a submission guy mostly. So I'm guessing he's going to want to take the fight to the ground and try to look for submissions and stuff like that.
Well, you're a former wrestling coach, obviously. MMA took you out of your full-time job of being a wrestling coach and moved you into being a professional athlete, which is basically how all wrestlers got their start. We were coaching someplace, and then we got to start making enough money doing MMA, and we moved our way out.
Right.
Why do you think that he thinks he has the ability to be able to take you down and get you on your back, knowing that you have a wrestling pedigree? Has there been something going on in your fights lately that makes people think they're going to be able to take you down?
I don't know why he would think that. I'm not an easy guy to take down by any means, but I have been taken down before. And, the only fights that I've really lost are the fights that I've been taken down in. The guys that are able to take me down and keep me on my back are really the only guys that's been able to beat me. So, if he's feeling like he's going to be capable of doing that, I'm sure he'll be shooting, but I plan on stuffing all those shots and, beating them up.
Now, in the background, we see a couple of your title belts, one from Victory and one from Titan Fighting Championships. Obviously, you're at your gym right now, which is in Kansas City.
Yes, sir.
I've talked to a lot of other fighters that own gyms, and in my personal opinion, the fighters that are still competing are too involved in their gyms. It takes too much distraction away from them getting ready for a fight, being prepared to fight, and focusing on themselves, because you're worrying about your students. So I make sure they're in line, worrying about the finances of the gym, making sure the money's coming in and everyone's paying on time, because the money that you're making in Bellator is I don't care what anybody says. It's not the top 3% fighters make all the money. Everybody else is trying to make a living. That's just what we're.
Absolutely.
So you're worrying about these other stresses and then trying to get ready to fight. I already told you my opinion on this whole matter because I went through it myself, and now later in life I'm like, that was the dumbest thing I ever did. Do you feel like that sometimes during training camps that you're like, well, I'm too invested in my gym right now. I got to get a partner or get somebody that can handle it so I don't have to do anything for the next 8 weeks?
Yeah, man. You nailed it. You have experience in walking in the same shoes. It's tough, man. It's tough to balance it all. I do have a business partner who's a fighter as well, Jason High. Luckily right now he's been suspended for a year, so he took a lot of weight off of me. Anytime that I do have a fight coming up, I lay off of the private lessons. I don't teach as many private lessons. I kind of cut back on the classes I teach. Unfortunately for this fight, is right in the heart of wrestling season. I'm the head wrestling coach for our youth wrestling program. So we actually have districts this weekend, and then the top 4 go to qualify for state. State is next weekend, the Saturday after my fight. So if I have any state qualifiers, I have to fight Friday night and jet all the way back to Topeka, Kansas to coach my kids for wrestling. So, it's a full-time job. It's a stressful job. And yeah, it can take away from it. But one thing it has helped me is it keeps me in the gym. You know what I mean? When I didn't own a gym, I would, train for a fight and then, take a couple weeks off to a month off and, sporadically be in the gym. When you own a gym, you're in the gym every day. And, I have to teach class and do other stuff, but I'm always working out. You know, even when I'm teaching classes, I'm hitting the bag, and so it just keeps me active. So I mean, I take the good with the bad.
You know, it's especially wrestling, because it is a dedicated full-time job. Then you're dealing with weekends that people that don't understand wrestling tournaments. You get there at 6 a.m. sometimes. You're at the tournament at 6 a.m. You don't get out of there till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And
Yeah.
God forbid you got a couple of kids in the finals. Then it's ridiculous. So
Yep.
it looks like you got people walking in the gym right now. I see your eyes starting over.
But that was Jason High. He was just asking
What's
about
up, Twinkle Toes?
What's up, buddy? I forgot you two were partners, and I actually was thinking, like, I haven't talked to High in a long time. I honestly forgot that you were still suspended. I totally forgot about it.
Yeah,
obviously you remember, because it's hurting you. It's hurting your pocketbook. What is real quick? What's going on with your suspension? Is it it's finalized? Just waiting on the date to be done, and you're good, or is there still something going on in the background that we don't know about yet?
No, I'm just waiting on the date, man.
Okay, all right.
June something. I should be back in.
So you're gonna fight right away, right? June 7th is your release date. June 8th you got to fight.
Yeah. We're trying to both be champs next year.
Yeah, smart. It's and that's got to be tough, having your partner on suspension who's also one of your closest friends, who's also a training partner, who's also a guy you look to for advice in different things of life. Like, it's got to be hard to have him sit on the sideline right now. What's the move been like?
I mean, honestly, he's been a lot of inspiration for me, man. He's been working out hard. To be suspended for a year, you could easily get fat and get lazy and not care about it, but he stayed in the gym. He runs our jiu-jitsu program, so he's constantly, evolving and getting better on the ground, and he helps my ground game, and we kind of like feed off each other and help each other out. So I'm excited to see him back in the cage soon.
What's his weight like? Because you're a 135 pounder. I mean, and Jason's pretty heavy. I mean, he looks thick, at least on the camera right now. What's his weight like?
Yeah. Actually, he's pretty small right now for him. You know, he's a former welterweight, but now he's a 55 pounder. And I think last week he was walking around about 180. So he's not super big, so he's pretty light for being suspended for a year.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of guys, like you said, get out of the gym. If they're 55 pounders, they walk around at 95, 200, like they're just sitting on their asses. So
yeah, I think, man, since he's dropped down to 55, he had a appendix rupture and that kind of made him lose some weight, and he hasn't really got over 85 since then. So he's right around the proper weight for his weight class.
During training camp, when you're tired and sore, and I know you said that because you got to take care of the kids, you're always in the gym. But looking over at Jason, seeing him in the gym, knowing that he can't do anything until June, like, does that make you want to get up and go harder? Like, dude, I got to fight in 6 weeks, and this guy's got nothing until June, and he's in here crushing it.
Absolutely. It makes me feel bad sometimes. Like, I'll be like, man, I need to take the day off, and I see him in there sparring, and he don't even have a fight coming up. I'm like, hold up, man, get your ass back in the gym, LC. So, like, we feed off each other. I'm sure he feels the same way. He sees me training for these fights, and he's hungry to get back in there, and he stays in and helps me out and helps our other fighters out. So it's just awesome to have a guy like that on your side.
Does he corner you when you go to fights? Does he come with you, or does he have to stay back and watch the gym?
Man, he's cornered me every one of my fights since we've been partners. But unfortunately, this fight, he does have to stay back and watch the gym because our gym manager is actually going to be out of town that weekend, and and then with me out of town, the 3 people that kind of run the gym would all be gone. So he kind of has to stay back and man the gym this time.
So who's gonna corner you then if Jason's not gonna be there?
My head jiu-jitsu coach and my MMA coach Travis Conley, as well as my boxing coach Melvin Wesley, and then also I'm gonna have my dad in my corner. He's always wanted to be in my corner, and since Jason's gone, I got a void to fill, so I'm gonna let my pops roll out with me.
How close are you and your dad? I mean, I know it's tough for sons sometimes to be close to their pops, but it's not necessarily an everyday, hey, let's hang out kind of relationship. Like, how close are you with your dad?
I'm super close with my dad.
Okay.
Most kids are like most guys are mama's boys. I'm kind of a daddy's boy. So me and my dad are super close. He's probably my best friend, and I know it's going to mean a lot to him to be in my corner in the Bellator on a big stage. So he's pumped up about it, and he's even cut weight with me and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
So I'm sure he's excited.
Yeah, my dad cut weight one time.
My Bellator debut, we like had a bet that if I made 135, he had to make 185, the middleweight division, and he did it too. I mean, he started from like 200 pounds, and I gave him $50 for doing it. We had a $50 bet, and he knocked it out, man. Sat in the sauna, sat in the hot tub with me and everything.
My dad cut weight one time through the glass on the other side of the glass. He sat outside the sauna waving at me. That's how he cut weight. I was like, thanks, Dick. Like, man. So that's great, man. That's awesome that you're that close to your dad. But it raises a question. I'm assuming he's never cornered anybody else. So now you got your dad's voice in the corner, and it's an unfamiliar voice. I'm assuming he's not at practice every day. He's not watching you, so he doesn't know the terms and the protocols. Have you had a conversation with him about, hey, this is the voice I'm going to hear. This is the voice that's got to talk to me. This is your role. Have you had that conversation?
Yeah, I pretty much told him he's just going to hold the banner and hold the water, you know. Like, don't be saying much. So he knows the drill. He knows my coaches know what to say and know what to do. So he's just basically going to be enjoying the moment, man. He's just going to be a fill-in.
All right. I like it. LC, thanks for taking some time with us. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Well, I already had most of your busy day. Still got some practice left to go. I appreciate you coming on here, man. It's going to be a great fight. Bellator 135 in Oklahoma, Thackerville, so it's not too far away from you. It's easy trek right down the highway. What is that, the 35?
35 South.
Yep. So it's real easy. It's real close. It's going to be a fun fight. You know, I hope it should be. It's going to be a lot of action. It's going to be a lot of punches thrown, a lot of takedowns happening, a lot of defense on your part going on, because I do see this kid trying to jump on you a little bit. And then it's going to be a test of sprawl, push the kid off, and hitting him 3 times every single time he shoots on you. That's really, for me, what it looks like you got to do. Sprawl out, hit him 3 times, and wait for him to come in again. Sprawl out, hit him again 3 times, and eventually he'll stop shooting, and then it becomes your game. So.
Absolutely. That's great advice.
I try. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes. Sometimes. All right, I'll see you, man. Have a great rest of the day, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good one.